Hi there and welcome. If you're new, if you are tagging along on this journey with me, welcome back to Solely Creations. My name is Esenia. Here on my channel, we plan, we get organized, budget, we cash plan, and we cash stuff. If those are things that interest you, I really hope that you follow along for more. Hi there, welcome. Here we are together again, and for today's video we're going to be doing a budget with me. I hope that everyone is doing well and that you are in the most positive mindset that you can be in, and get prepared for whether you do your bills monthly, bi-weekly, weekly, whichever way that suits your planning. I just hope you're here and ready to plan. So we're gonna jump right into it. The budget portion of planning is probably one of my favorite things to do. I don't know, I guess it's hard to pick a favorite when you put things or set up some sort of planning system because you enjoy the most of it or all of it. I do like the budgeting just because that's probably the strongest planning part of my system, and I'd say that's probably because I've been doing it since my very first job. I sat down, thought about bills, thought about how I was going to pay them, wrote it down, and it's evolved and it's changed in the sense of, you know, whether I was bullet journaling it, whether I was handheld planning, or now rings. It's been different inserts or different templates or different tables, but the system or the general way that it's being written down and you know, broke down, that essentially is the same. So we're gonna go to the budget tab here, and we have the assumption tracker, which is what I do. I sit down at the beginning of the month and track down what I'm gonna make monthly, and then I break it down bi-weekly, and then the funds just are set aside for when they're ready to pull for the bills or the saving or you know, whatever have you. So the assumption tracker is where we start as far as writing down the bills at the beginning of the month, and then we have bi-weekly bill breakdown. And see, I have changes that I need to make, some more streaming services going up. So the bi-weekly bills, we have pay period 1 and then pay period 2. We're going to be in pay period 2, but so you can see, I'll list the bill and I have it broken up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 categories, and then the amount, and then this is an annual tracker. So when it gets paid for that month, I'll do a tally, and then down here on the side I have whether the bill is reoccurring, if it needs to be manually paid, or if we're forwarding it to our month ahead funds. So we are at all times a month and a half ahead as far as bills go. So we take out, for the pay period, we take out half of the next month's bills. So we have already got the month of August done, and then we take out half of what's going to be owed in September, and then that's what our month ahead funds are. And then for 6 month ahead, the way we break that down is once we came into a sum of money, we set that aside after saving for a certain amount of time, and then that's our 6 month ahead. And then we have other month ahead funds in case an emergency happens, one of us loses our job, and then that's what we've been accruing interest on. So those are month ahead funds. Everything written in ink is the general amount. That's what it's been for the last few months at least, except for a couple things that have changed, like Netflix, mostly streaming services, Spotify, and all went up. When those things change, I just will do a new bi-weekly bills. I have an extra one back here which I'll have to do because I just found out our YouTube TV went up a little bit. And then anything that's variable, which would be water, electric, right? Those types of things that are dependent on how much we use and then don't get calculated until the end of the month. I'll go in and write those with pencil so that I can just erase it once I'm done doing the budget, and then use the same bi-weekly bills insert for the purpose of tracking it annually. So this, in addition to the banking log, which I keep in the wallet, is what we're going to use to reference on what to write down for the bills. And then this is our budget insert. And I keep this month's and then the next month's in here ready to go. So that's what it looks like. And it's got a table here for the months, and then I'll just highlight whatever month we're in, write the year next to it, and then we have whether it's pay period 1 or pay period 2, and then I have 2 blocks for contributions that I make and then contributions that my husband makes. An IOU breakdown, and then I've got 2 blocks for that because depending on the time and I guess the like groceries and things like that, this can go into 2 blocks. We're hoping that it doesn't this pay period. And then we have a cash stuffing goals, which we won't do this until the start of August when we kick back up with the cash stuffing. And then a budget goals area where I will write things that, maybe something that we want to save towards, something we want to change about our budget, if we want to contribute more, if we're going to change from a basic savings account to a CD, depending on dollar amounts, investments. Like, I'll put a little note here so that we can reference, and then also any upcoming changes when it comes to income. So if something changes, like with my husband, he's actually getting in the same industry, but going to be working differently where the pay is different. We'll notate that so that we can reference when it comes to the next pay period budget. And then here is where I'll write notes, and typically this is where I put exactly how much is going towards bills, which we do have to transfer. We keep everything separated just for that additional layer of security, keeping things separate, not in one account due to the dangers of that. And then any other notes that perhaps should be referenced if we didn't contribute to one of our primary savings accounts, or budget changes, income changes, anything else that I need to put, I'll put it here in the bigger block. So this is what we're going to be using to budget. And we'll just put this over here. And we just need to get to pay period 2. So this is where we're going to be. So we've got our bi-weekly bills, we've got our banking log. I also have a cheat sheet which I reference just to make sure I'm staying within the same format that I typically stay in. And that helps with, again, if I need to come back and reference something, if a bill got missed, if it's in the same format, it'll be easier for me to figure it out. I'm human, I make mistakes. I'm not a mathematician. Sometimes I add incorrectly, which is why we'll be using our calculator today. So I do bring that up actually because we had an experience where for some reason, and I only caught it because I changed from the bullet journaling to the rings. So thank goodness I decided to change a little bit. For whatever reason, I missed 9 months worth of Netflix payments. How that happened, I don't know. Maybe one pay period we didn't have to contribute to it because we paid for it during the pay period 1 or pay period 2. And then it just I forgot to write it on the next pay period. But because I have this in a similar format, I was able to go back, look, and find exactly how many months I missed for when I started, missing writing it down. So it does help to keep the same format, especially for errors. So we're gonna start with IOU breakdown, and I will explain that because what IOU means to us is, and I'm using for this one because another thing that I'm getting used to is the inserts being smaller. I'm used to bigger, fuller pages, and I do definitely write bigger, so I'm still adapting to the smaller spaces and smaller areas to be able to fit everything in there. I don't mind it. I actually like the way that it looks, and it does make everything seem neater and more put together than sometimes when with my normal handwriting, my bigger handwriting, it can look sort of sloppy. So I do like that. It makes me stay neat. It helps again, because then I don't have to squint my eyes and try to find what I'm looking for. Everything's well put together. So I'm using a Micron 0.1, and this just helps keep the numbers easier to read, so they don't look so smooshed with the thicker, because my BIC Intensity is a little bit thicker. So we'll start with the breakdown. So for IOUs, we use a head funds that we've got saved for those bigger purchases, especially groceries. Groceries is a big IOU because typically that can be anywhere between $200, $250 each time we go. So what we'll do is we make the payment, we purchase our groceries, and then we'll use the head funds to purchase them. And then when it comes to our pay period, we will take whatever IOU amount, split it down the middle. We split everything down the middle, and then apply that back towards our month ahead, so that always stays funded and even contributed to a little bit at a time. Because when it comes to change, I always round up, and then even when it gets divided in half, it'll get rounded up. So here and there, or at least each time we're grocery shopping and then contributing back a little bit at a time, is also going towards our head funds. So I think that's a good compromise. It's about the same amount of interest a basic savings account would earn in a month, if not more. So that's the way that I compromise it. So we'll start with the IOU breakdown. I'm going to use my cheat sheet just to make sure I stay. And then with certain grocery trips, depending on where we go, with like Target, my husband has a red card, so he'll use his red card, get that discount, and then I have to remember to write small to get myself enough room. And then he will Zelle himself that amount. So here on the banking log where I'll list anytime that happens as a tracking, knowing, and then list what it was for. That's what I'll use. What information will come off the banking log, I'll list here as the IOUs. And groceries is the hard one, and it feels like it's getting worse and worse each time we go. The less amount of food we're getting, but the more money we're spending, and I'm sure many people are saying that now with these times. Grocery shopping is the bane of my existence. And honestly, it's been that way even when I was single and on my own. Grocery shopping has always given me anxiety because going in for whatever reason, when I decide to go in, it's always busy. Everybody is there. And then everybody is always in need of the things that I'm there for. And I break up my shopping like produce and refrigerated stuff, pantry items, just to help with like how fast I should be going to make sure that nothing gets gross. So people are just, it doesn't matter if you're in their way or not. If they need something and you're near it, they're gonna walk all over you. So groceries has never been my jam anyway. But now I refuse to do it. I refuse to go in. So I've changed my grocery shopping to online orders, and then I'll just go pick it up. And that's helped. It's helped because, and then I also don't look at how much we're spending. It just gets done. We need it. There's not much that I can do. I try to get as much coupons as I can, whatever savings that we can. But it is what it is, right? We need food. So having month ahead funds, some sort of pool to be able to use is super helpful in these instances. And fingers crossed, hopefully the price of things is going to go down. Who knows these days. So I'm going to draw myself a little line here. And yay, we don't have to use 2 blocks. I am excited. And we're going to use pink. Another type of pen that I use, and this comes in a pack I got on Amazon. Ooh, that's interesting. Staedtler? Yeah, Staedtler Triplus Fineliner. And those come in a pack, and they write really nice. The same sort of tip that I like in my pens as well. So whatever color I use for my highlighter, I typically use when I do the breakdowns and things. So regardless of the amount, I'm always going to check to make sure that the dollar amounts are good. That just prevents errors, I think. And so here we have change. I'm going to round that up, so it's actually going to be $7. And so now I've divided it in half. So this is the total that me and my husband will contribute to evenly towards IOUs. Totals, make sure I'm doing this right. Yep. And then now, so actually down here, since we have space, I will list exactly what these funds, the IOU funds, were used for. So groceries, miscellaneous, and pet care. We just got the dog some food. And then miscellaneous is household things. Like if we have to go to Home Depot, especially right now because we're doing backyard maintenance. So backyard. And there's something else. What's the other thing? Painting supplies. And then that just lets me know when I need to come back and reference what these IOUs, or if I'm trying to cut down IOUs, maybe there's just too much going on. It's easy for me to figure out if that was something that was actually used for the purpose of what our IOU was invented for. And then we're going to use our biweekly bills to list each of our, aside from some individual payment obligations like credit and things like that, these will pretty much be the same. So I'll list, divided by half in each block, IOUs, the totals, and then whatever is safe from whatever income that we're bringing in, which is what I call it. We put that amount, we total that amount, and then from that amount we divvy up to our individual payment obligations, and then whatever's going to go to savings. So again, just make sure I'm following my format. See, I caught myself up here, I was writing too big. actually just got notification that my business insurance is going up. That was a nice little hey there. And I'm quite interested how they're doing their calculations. For anybody who has business insurance out there, you'll have to tell me what your renewals are looking like, because when I think of renewals, it makes sense for things to go up, obviously. $5 here, $10 there, $20, I mean, and that's a lot even. But my premium is almost tripling what I pay now a month, which is crazy. I don't know how they're doing their calculations or why. It's not like anything has dinged my business or my insurance, which that's typically something that raises your insurance. There's nothing that's called for a high premium. I don't know. I'll have to talk to my rep and see if maybe there's something that I'm paying for that is being automatically added that can be changed, or if that's normal. I don't know. Not a happy notice there. And then for the cash stuffing, what I'm gonna do is just mark that out, because we are not gonna contribute that until August. And that's just to get back on a routine, specific routine. Alright, so as you can see, I've listed my contribution, and then typically I'll write whatever income's coming in for me and then whatever income's coming in for my husband. I'll save that info for later. And then I'm gonna total it, also minus the total of the IOUs. And then when I list the difference from his insurance, is just a little bit different. Everything else looks the same. So I'll go ahead and do that on my own, and then I'll come back and show you and go over like what the breakdowns and how everything looks after. Alright, so this is, I'll blur out some things, but I've left it pretty safe as far as the information goes, just to kind of review. So we list utilities, streaming services, any type of bill that's due for the month of August, to finish up the totals for that, and then whatever half we are adding towards September to contribute to our month ahead funds. And so for our mortgage, that's very helpful for those big payments, like if you've got a big loan payment, car payment, mortgage, rent even, because rent these days is, you might as well buy a home. It's so much better to make those big payments when you're not pulling them out of one paycheck. Then it feels like you've only got one paycheck to really pay for the rest of your bills, do your groceries. There's just so many things that we need to pay for these days that, you know, you're spreading yourself a little thin when you use one paycheck for rent or one paycheck for mortgage. So what we found is, you know, we when you first do a mortgage loan or a car loan, and really I think any type of fixed loan, your first payment is not going to be due for a month. So with that month, we set aside our first month's mortgage payment. And then now we've got, you know, our first month's mortgage payment, but we can still contribute and add or subtract half of what we're gonna pay, and then that'll put us a month and a half ahead. So that's the logic around the month ahead funds. and for us to always ensure that our mortgage payment is there, ready. We just need to pay it, and then we've already got half of what we need for the next month until the next pay period, and then again it'll be full for the next month, or funded for the next month. And then we also do that for insurance as well. We'll take half and then contribute to the following month's payment. It really just feels like we're not being spread thin that way, and also helps with saving money and setting aside money. The more you save, the more you find, the more money that you have. And I love that logic. Even if it seems like we don't need to set enough or that amount for the next month's payment, it makes me feel better inside to know that if, you know, perhaps something that I wasn't expecting happens, and now we're gonna have to pull from those month ahead funds to make payments, it makes me feel good to know that I can count on having money to make payments in the event of an emergency. So that's where the logic came up, where I came up with the logic of month ahead. And at 21, doing your first big girl job, was I 20 or 21? 20 or 21. Doing your first big girl job, and being able to know that, I give myself a lot of kudos. And that was one thing that I always talk to with the youngins in finance. If you can get yourself on a month ahead schedule, you will sleep so much better at night, knowing that you are well prepared for your bills. Alright, so, and then splitting that up between the both of us, give or take differences in insurance and car payments, our total IOUs, what we're each contributing, and then we'll take that from the totals. We're not doing cash stuffing yet, and then some notes that I put in to reference for the next budget, like restarting the cash envelopes in August, our IOUs were paid in full, and then just some income changes that are coming up to be prepared for. And then again, I'll list, once I get the totals, I will list exactly how much we're going to transfer to our joint account for the bills, and then a little note about how much is getting contributed to the girl savings account. And then I'm also going to give myself some kudos, because we did really well with IOUs this pay period. I'm not too sure what the difference was in our spending, but we did really good. I guess maybe we did good with our groceries. We were able to make it last a little bit longer than we normally do, which is great. I'll take that. Yeah. Wow. And that's just incentive to keep doing it that way, I guess, but life doesn't always work out that way, which is why we like to be prepared. So I will do the totals later. Transfers, get that done. So we'll put this behind pay period 1, and then once we start putting away inserts, archiving inserts before the next pay period, we'll put those away in our bins. Awesome. And then put this away. Alright, so if you are still with me, I really appreciate it. I hope that either you were able to get some planning done out of your own, or if you're just using this as a little bit of relaxing time, that's always great too. If you like what you saw, definitely like the video. Anything that you want to talk about, the comments are always open. And if you would like to continue on this journey with me, I really hope you consider subscribing. Until next time, bye guys.